Finally, the CRB has announced Piastri's deal with McLaren as a legal one, leaving the Alpine spot empty for filling. Pierre Gasly is looking for a way out of Alpha Tauri according to his statements and is ready to prove himself in a top-performing team. However, he signed a deal with the Red Bull-affiliated team until 2024, and although there were rumors about a possible clause that would allow Gasly to leave Alpha Tauri at the end of 2022, Helmut Marko has denied these rumors. In a recent turn of events, it was reported that Gasly would be able to leave Alpha Tauri under one condition, and that is if the team can sign Colton Herta as his replacement. So is Gasly finally on the move out of the toxic environment that is surrounding him in AT? Stick around with us to find out more. We all know how the situation works in Red Bull when it comes to picking drivers. The drivers usually groomed in Alpha Tauri, previously known as Toro Rosso, prior to them receiving a chance in Red Bull. Gasly's chance was a short one as he drove only 13 races for the team in 2019 and didn't prove himself to be a match alongside Verstappen, which is why he was returned to Toro Rosso and was replaced by Alex Albon. From there on, Gasly has proven himself as a great driver in 2020 and he took his maiden win in Italy. Not just that, he was able to constantly finish in the top 6 and Red Bull was bashed on multiple occasions about Gasly driving in Alpha Tauri and still scoring better results than Albon, who was in Red Bull. But when the team decided to move away from Albon and sign Perez, it became evident yet again that the team wasn't ready or willing to continue their relationship with Gasly. After Perez continued his deal with Red Bull until 2024, Gasly did the same thing and continued his deal with Alpha Tauri until 2024. But in a statement of his, he said that he is willing to go to a top-performing team and showcase his talents, which is why he is heavily linked with Alpine and was heavily linked with McLaren prior to the Piastri saga. Now the Alpine seat is still empty as we speak, and it's certain that Piastri won't be their driver from 2023 onwards. Recent reports have said that Alpine has enhanced their talks with Gasly to try to sign him for the 2023 season, and although he and Ocon aren't really best friends on the grid, it would be a huge chance for the team to establish the best of the rest status on the grid and possibly fight for podiums again. However, the reins are in AlphaTauri's hands, and in order for this to be completed, they have to sign Colton Herta as Gasly's replacement. This is much easier said than done since Herta is still in McLaren's academy and is currently driving in the IndyCar 500. Prior to the Spa race start, we saw Helmut Marko and Zach Brown chatting on the grid, and it could very well be about the AlphaTauri-Herta's collaboration. The youngsters that are in McLaren's academy, such as Herta and Pato O'Ward, have zero to no chance of entering McLaren's F1 team, given the fact that the duo Norris and Piastri is a young one and a long-term investment for the team. And in recent interviews and statements, Red Bull's head of the junior drivers program has talked about Gasly's current situation in AlphaTauri, saying that Yuki is already at his level. Yes, we have a good relationship. As a team leader, he has been very successful at Alpha Tauri in recent years, but Yuki is already at his level in terms of lap speed. In the race, things are not going as well as in previous seasons for the Frenchman. Nevertheless, we improved Gasly's contract financially, even though we didn't have to do that. Perez's contract prevents a move for Gasly to Red Bull Racing in 2023. From 2024, Gasly is free, said Marko. This was prior to Piastri's saga taking full swing and ending the way it did, with the young Aussie signing for McLaren and Colton Herta being included in the mix. Now that the Red Bull affiliated team has increased the interest in the USA driver, it could be a huge shake-up in the drivers' lineup for 2023. There are several pros that come with this move, as Colton Herta will bring a huge fan base from the USA to AlphaTauri and essentially to Red Bull. The popularity has increased a lot in the USA thanks to the documentary Drive to Survive, which is why the state saw 2 tracks implemented from 2022 and 2023 in Miami and Las Vegas respectively. However, we're still lacking a driver from the USA, and if Herta is the one that will break the ice, then we're about to experience even wider popularity in the sport in the USA. But the last thing we want in the sport is another driver that has no idea how to drive but is there just because he brings popularity or money to a certain team. But there is one huge problem with Colton Herta, and that is his super license. In order to drive in Formula 1, you need 40 points on your super license. Herta has 32 as of now, and the FIA could grant him super license thanks to a COVID-inherited rule that says Drivers can obtain their super license if they scored a minimum of 30 super license points, but judged at the sole determination of the FIA as unable to qualify, while participating in one or more of the sanctioned championships, due to circumstances outside their control or reasons of force majeure. Now, how's the situation with Colton Herta? He's currently sitting 10th, with 8th being his realistic final result. In addition to this, Herta can gain an extra point for any FP1 session he does between now and the end of the 2022 season, as long as he manages more than 100 kilometers and doesn't log any penalty points. This way, Herta can gain up to 10 points, but his season in the IndyCar 500 ends on the same weekend as the Italian GP, so he would have around 6 outings to gain 6 additional points, meaning that he'll be stuck on 38 points, just too short of the requirements needed to gain the super license. Plus, it's a huge question mark if Alpha Tauri can organize everything smoothly in order to allow Herta to have 6 outings in free practice sessions. Force majeure could be especially useful in the Herta case if he was to apply for a full super license and not the Friday version used for FP1 sessions. That will allow him to race this year. That would potentially open up the 4-season range of results that he can call on to include 2018 to 2021. Herta finished second in the 2018 Indy Lights Championship, a performance that should in theory be worth 12 points. Unfortunately for him, the series had only 8 regular entrants, not enough to meet the FIA criteria for scoring super license points. However, if the FIA decides that he could count those points after all, for example, because the lack of entries was outside his control, he could potentially count 12 for 2018, 20 for 2020, and 8 for 2021, making for a total of 40, exactly what he needs. But for this to happen, AlphaTauri would have to bench either Yuki or Gasly before the end of this year, possibly at some of the final events of the season, in order to give Herta a chance to race. There is one more factor that should be asked in this situation if Gasly was to be replaced in AlphaTauri, and that is Liam Lawson. We all know that F3 and F2 are breeding grounds for F1 entrants, and when something like this with Herta happens, you question yourself whether these competitions are really worth it and whether the teams should invest in them. Liam Lawson is currently racing in F2, but is also a reserve driver for AlphaTauri, and when asked about his situation with Herta possibly taking his spot in the team, he said that it doesn't change a lot for him. I'm still focused on delivering the best job in Formula 2 that I can and trying to finish this year, I guess, strongly. It hasn't been the season we'd hoped for, but I guess the talk in Formula 1 at the moment is all discussion at the moment from my side. I'll wait to find out what is decided for me, but right now it's just focusing on Formula 2, said Lawson. There have been reports from close sources to the sport that if the Herta-AlphaTauri relationship was bound to happen, and if the FIA was to bound its rules to insert Herta in the sport just because of the fame and popularity he'll bring, investments in F3 and F2 would drop massively. What do you think about this move? Do you think that Gasly will be replaced by Herta in AlphaTauri? And with Piastri officially signed by McLaren, do you think that the Frenchman will drive for the Enstone-based team? Let us know in the comments below.